in the coming weeks, but we'll get some dry weather is coming up pretty well. That's it. Back to you two.
Thanks, Dan. And that is it for One News this Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your night.
We'll hand you over now to the first One News Leaders Debate from the One News team. Good night.
Good night.
Good evening and welcome to the Vote 2017 Leaders Debate, our first debates of this election campaign, and the first time Jacinda Ardern and Bill English will come face to face. There are lots of ways to watch tonight. We're also live streaming on One News Now, Facebook and YouTube. You can also watch again later on TVNZ on demand. This is being simulcast on News Talk ZB as well. Although we seem to say it every 3 years, this campaign really has been one out of the box, hasn't it? We welcome the National Party leader Bill English and Labor Party leader Jacinda Ardern. And although this is a fluid sort of event, we are not aiming to spend a lot of time on bottom lines and potential coalition deals. That we save for the last debate just before polling day. Now, we have flipped a coin. Bill English will get first question. I will be calling the leaders by their first names. They are happy with that. So let's start with tonight's One News Colmar Brunton poll. Bill English, why are you losing?
We're not, Mike. We're focusing on rolling out our plans for the next 3 years. Very pleased with the positive response that we're getting. We're a party that has shown we can deliver on all sorts of things, from changing the lives of our children to building infrastructure, and we're very pleased with how our campaign's going.
Why are you on 41% when you were on 47 or 48?
Well, look, it's a bit out of line with what we're seeing.
What are you seeing?
Well, we're seeing it a bit stronger than that. But look, this is a choice for the voters, not an argument about polling numbers.
Well, it is, because tonight, I'll come to that in a moment, you don't have the numbers to get to government, you're losing. What's your number if 41 isn't it?
Well, look, it's a bit better, but I don't think that's the point. The point is the choice that the voters are now looking to make in what's clearly a close election, a drag race between the two major parties, where New Zealand can go in the right direction, continue with the success we've had and really build on it, or go off on with the other parties on confusing and vague policy.
Jacinda, do you believe the numbers?
Oh, I'm certainly not going to decide that it's somehow a done deal right now. There's been a huge amount of change in the last 3 to 4 weeks. And yes, that's been in Labor's favour, but that can turn in either direction. So I'm not taking anything for granted.
Strong economy and sensible use today of technology and data and so on, we can achieve our social and environmental objectives at the same time as have a strong economy.
When you say
that,
that, part of the money you're spending is on buying motels to house people who don't have a home.
We're spending money on making sure they've got a home. We want everyone to be able to have a home, and the best news for them is there's 200,000 houses going to be built in New Zealand over the next 6 years. You see, it's not a matter of throwing big money.
We've got to go to a break. We've got plenty of time left. Just finish your thought on the values of going in and not explain to us why we don't have any specifics
Never on the family home, but I'm doing this to make sure that my generation can get into housing. That's why it's important. All
right, we're underway. Coming up after the break, why aren't wage increases as big as you would expect or like? More shortly. Welcome back to this One News Vote 17 Leaders Debate. Bill English, Jacinda Ardern with us for the first time tonight. Two other debates still to come. The multi-party Leaders Debate this Friday week, and then we reassemble Wednesday before the election. Let me pick you up just as regards the values of fine. Brief break. We will come back in just a moment. Here's the first of tonight's viewers' questions.
Kia ora, my name's Carlo Ellis. I'm the Choice for Employment you can create for our youth, and especially Māori youth.
Bill English, 30 seconds from you.
Well, kia ora. There's a good number of pathways.
Welcome back to our One News Vote 17 Leaders Debate. The first time Jacinda Ardern and Bill English have come head-to-head this evening. Jacinda Ardern, housing, what's a reasonable price to pay for a house?
Well, it's certainly not $1 million, which is where it's sitting on average in Auckland. You know, we have an ambition to lift home ownership in New Zealand, and so part of our target is making sure that we build over 10 years 100,000 houses.
Indeed, we've talked about that. What's a reasonable price to pay for a house? Thank you both for coming in here tonight. Appreciate it very much. And thank you for joining us. I hope you have a clearer idea of who you want to be Prime Minister now. Let us know what you think on our online tool, Vote Compass, of course. See where you line up with the parties and tell us what you think and who did best in tonight's debate. They will be back, as I mentioned earlier on, just before the election. But next Friday, the 8th of September, book it in, is the multi-party leaders debate. We will see you then. Good night.